Wayuka 25. And Hashem spoke to Moshe on Mount Sinai, saying, Speak to the yelidem of Israel. Say to them, when you come into the land which I give you, then the land shall observe a Sabbath rest to Hashem. 6 years you sow your field, and 6 years you prune your vineyard, and gather its fruit. But in the 7th year, the land is to have a Sabbath of rest, a Sabbath to Hashem. Do not sow your field, and do not prune your vineyard. Do not reap what grows of its own of your harvest, and do not gather the grapes of your unpruned vine. For it is a year of rest for the land, and the Sabbath of the land shall be to you for food, for you and your servant, and for your female servant, and your hired servant, and for the stranger who sojourns with you, and for your livestock, and the beasts that are in your land. All its crops are for food, and you shall count 7 Sabbaths of years for yourself, 7 times 7 years. And the land of the 7 Sabbath of years shall be to you 49 years. You shall then sound a shofar sound on the 10th day of the 7th new moon on Yom Kippurim. Cause a shofar to sound through all your land, and you shall set the 50th year apart and proclaim release throughout all your land to all its inhabitants. It is a Yobel for you, and each of you shall return to his possession, and each of you return to his clan. 50 years is a Yoel to you. Do not sow nor reap what grows of its own, nor gather from its unpruned vine. It is a Yoel. It is set apart to you. Eat from the field its crops. In the year of this Yoel, let each one of you return to his possession. And when you sell whatever to your neighbor, or buy from the hand of your neighbor, do not exploit one another. According to the number of years after the Yoel, you buy from your neighbor, and according to the number of years of crops he sells to you. According to the greater number of years, you increase its price, and according to the fewer number of years, you diminish its price, because he sells to you according to the number of the years of the crops. And do not oppress one another, but you shall fear your Elohim, for I am Hashem, your Elohim, and you shall do my laws and guard my right rulings, and shall do them. And you shall dwell in the land in safety, and the land shall yield its fruit, and you shall eat to satisfaction, and shall dwell there in safety. And since you might say, what do we eat in the 7th year, since we do not sow nor gather in our crops? Therefore I have commanded my blessings on you in the 6 years, and it shall bring forth the crops for 3 years. And you shall sow in the 8th year, and eat of the old crops until the 9th year. Eat of the old until its crops comes in. And the land is not to be sold beyond reclaim, for the land is mine. For you are sojourners, and settle with me, and provide for a redemption for the land, and all the land and all the land of your possession. When your brother becomes poor and has sold some of his possession, and his redeemer, a close relative, comes to redeem it, then he shall redeem what his brother sold. And when the man has no one to redeem it, but he himself becomes able to redeem it, then let him count the years since his sale, and return the remainder to the man to whom he sold it, that he shall return to his possession. And if the hand has not found enough to give back to him, then what was sold shall remain in the hand of him who brought it until the year of Yobel, and it shall be released in the year of Yobel, and he shall return to his possession. And when a man sells a house in a walled city, then his right of redemption shall be at the end of the year, after it is sold. His right of redemption lasts a year. But if it is not redeemed within a year, then the house in the walled city shall be established beyond reclaim to the buyer of it throughout his generation. It is not released in the Yoel. The houses of the villages, however, which have no walls around them, are reckoned as the field of the country. A right of redemption belongs to it, and they are released in the Yobel. As for the cities of the Levies and the house in the cities of their possession, the Levies have a right of redemption forever, and that which is redeemed from the Levies, both the sale of the house and the city, his possession, shall be released in the year of the Yoel, because the house and the cities of the Levies are their possession in the midst of the children of Israel. But the field of the open land of their cities is not sold, for it is their everlasting possession. And when the brother becomes poor, and his hands have failed with you, then you shall strengthen him, and he shall live with you like a stranger or sojourner. Take no interest from him or profit, but you shall fear your Elohim, and your brother shall live with you. Do not lend him your silver on interest, and do not lend him your food for profit. I am Hashem, your Elohim, who brought you out of the land of Mizraim to give you the land of Canaan to be your Elohim. And when your brother who dwells by you becomes poor and sells himself to you, do not make him serve as a slave, but as a hired servant, as a settler. He is with you and serves you until the year of Yoel, and then he shall leave you, he and his children with him, and shall return to his own clan, even return to the possession of his fathers. For they are my servants whom I brought out of the land of Mizraim. They are not sold as slaves. Do not rule over him with harshness, but you shall fear your Elohim, and your male and female slaves whom you have from the nations that are around you. From them you buy male and female slaves, and also from the sons of the strangers, sojourners among you. From them you buy, and from them their clans who are with you, which they shall bring forth in your land, and they shall be your property, and you shall take them as an inheritance for your children after you, to inherit them as a possession. They are your slaves for all time. But over your brothers and the children of Israel, you do not rule with harshness one over another. Now when a sojourner or a settler becomes rich, and your brother with him becomes poor and sells himself to the settler or sojourner with you, or to the member of the sojourner clan, after he has been sold, there is a right of redemption to him. One of his brothers does redeem him, or his uncle's son does redeem him, or anyone who is a close relative to him in his clan does redeem him, or if he is able, then he shall redeem himself, and he shall reckon with him who brought him. The price of his release shall be according to the number of years from the years that he was sold to him until the year of Yoel, as the days of a hired servant it is with him. If there are yet many years according to them, he repays the price of his redemption from the silver of his purchase. And if few years are left until the year of Yoel, then he shall reckon with him, and according to his years he repays the price of his redemption. He is with him as a yearly hired servant, and he does not rule with harshness over him before your eyes. And if he is not redeemed in these years, then he shall be released in the year of Yoel, he and his children with him, because children of Israel are servants to me. They are my servants whom I brought out of the land of Mizraim. I am Hashem, your Elohim. Shalom. So this is the portion of the yelidem song, and this will help them learn English and Hebrew. Toda Hashem for life, power, family, and blessings, wisdom and knowledge and understanding. Toda Hashem, Toda Hashem, Toda Hashem. Toda Hashem for Kai, Elohim, Mishpachah, and Biruka, Tak, Kokma, and Daya, and Bina. Toda Hashem, Toda Hashem, Toda Hashem. For this portion is how to pray and ways to pray. 1 Chronicles 17:16. And Sovereign David came in and sat before Hashem and said, Who am I, O Hashem Elohim? And what is my house that you have brought me this far? Then the Levites, Yeshua and Kadmiel, Bani, Hashabinyah, Sherebiah, Haduya, Shebaniah, Pethadyah said, Rise, bless Hashem your Elohim forever and ever, and let them bless your esteemed name, which is exalted above all blessings and praise. Second Kings 4:35. And he returned and walked back and forth in the house, then went up and down and stretched himself out on him. And the child sneezed 7 times, and the child opened his eyes. Yosha 7:6. And Yosha tore his garments and fell to the earth on his face before the ark of Hashem until evening, both he and the elders of Israel, and they put dust on their heads. Psalms 63:4. Therefore I bless you while I live. In your name I lift up my hands. And Ezra blessed Hashem, the great Elohim. Then all the people answered, Amen, Amen, while lifting up their hands. And they bowed their heads, and they worshiped Hashem with faces to the ground. Ezra 9:5. And at the evening offering I rose from my affliction, and having torn my garments and my robe, I fell on my knees and spread out my hands to Hashem my Elohim. Aleph, Bet, Gimel, Dalet, Hey, Waw, Zayin, Chet, Tet, Yod, Kof, Lamem, Mem, Nun, Samek, Ayin, Pei, Zadi, Kuf, Resh, Shin, Tau. Shama, O Yisrael, Yahuwah, Eloheinu, Yahuwah Akkad, Wahateh, Yahuwah Eloheka, Ukol Lebabaka, Ukol Nefsheka, Ubiko Meodeka. So that is Shema Yisrael, Shema Israel. Yahuwah, our Elohim, Yahuwah is one. And you should love Yahuwah, your Elohim, with all your heart, with all your soul, and with all your might. Hello, Yah. Shalom, y'all. Oh, and if you guys have any fun, cool ways to remember the Shema, please list them below. On her Royal Roots, I saw a really cool way on Lit channel that she has done the Shema. She has the whole Shema and she has it written out. So check her channel out too. Shalom, y'all.